Have you ever noticed how your social media feed, your friends, even the news, all seem to repeat the same ideas back to you? That's not by accident. It's called the echo chamber effect, a mental trap where we only hear voices that agree with us. It feels safe, but here's the danger. It silently limits your growth, your opportunities, even your success. This happens because of something called confirmation bias. Our brains crave agreement. It's easier to hear what feels comfortable than to face what challenges us. But comfort zones don't create growth. If you never step outside the echo, you never see the bigger picture. Today, I'll show you how to break free, open your mind, and think for yourself so you can build real strength, not false confidence. Let me tell you in 4 steps. Stay with me, and don't skip even one word, so you will fully understand the importance of day 26. If you are going to skip it, I will say, must listen to the last 3rd and 4th part. 1. The cognitive traps. Have you ever felt like the world around you is repeating the same voices, the same opinions, the same beliefs? Like you're trapped in a loop where nothing new ever enters your mind? You scroll on your phone, and the posts agree with you. You talk to friends, and they say the same things you already believe. You watch the news, and it just confirms your existing views. It feels safe. It feels comfortable. But here's the truth. Comfort is the biggest prison for your mind. That's the echo chamber effect. And inside it, powerful mental traps quietly shape your thoughts, your choices, and even your destiny. Today, on day 26 of our 30-day challenge, I want to reveal these invisible traps: confirmation bias, false confidence, and the fear of facing uncomfortable truths, and more importantly, show you how to escape them. Because only when you break free can you grow, succeed, and live with true freedom. Let's start with the first trap: confirmation bias. Your brain is wired to love agreement. Long ago, in tribal times, being accepted by your group was the difference between life and death. So, your brain rewards you with a sense of safety when others validate your beliefs. But in today's world, this survival instinct has turned into a mental prison. Think about social media. The algorithm shows you what you like, what you already believe, what makes you nod your head instead of shake it. And without realizing it, your world shrinks. You only hear voices that echo your own. And what happens when we only hear agreement? We grow blind to other perspectives. We start believing our way is the only way. And slowly, growth stops. Here's the truth. The brain feels pleasure when it's right, but it grows when it's challenged. Imagine you're in the gym. If you only lift weights that feel light, your muscles never grow. Comfort won't build strength. Resistance will. The same is true for your mind. If you only feed it with agreement, it gets weak. If you challenge it, it grows strong. So here's your challenge for today. Actively look for one opinion that disagrees with you. Not to fight it, but to understand it. Growth begins the moment you choose curiosity over comfort. Now let's move to the second trap, the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is one of the most dangerous psychological traps because it makes you believe you're smarter than you really are. When we learn just a little about a subject, we feel like we know a lot. That small piece of knowledge tricks us into overconfidence. And inside an echo chamber, this effect multiplies. Everyone around you is saying the same thing, so you feel even more certain. But certainty without depth is a recipe for failure. Think of it like learning to swim. You take one lesson, splash around in shallow water, and suddenly you believe you can handle the ocean. You dive in unprepared, and the ocean humbles you. In life, the same thing happens. People with shallow knowledge speak the loudest, while true experts stay humble because they understand how vast the unknown really is. Real wisdom isn't about always being right. Real wisdom is knowing how much you don't know. The solution is to adopt a beginner's mindset. Approach every subject, every conversation, with the humility of a learner. Ask more questions than you give answers. Remember, empty cups can be filled, but full cups can only overflow. And then there's the third trap, cognitive dissonance. This is the discomfort you feel when reality doesn't match your beliefs. It's that sinking feeling when evidence proves you might be wrong. And let's be honest, no one likes that feeling. So what do most people do? They avoid it. They ignore the evidence. They unfollow the person. They scroll past the post. They block out the truth. But here's the tragedy. The very discomfort we avoid is the key to growth. Imagine you go to the doctor and they tell you your lifestyle is hurting your health. The truth stings. You feel defensive. You want to deny it. But if you run from it, you get worse. If you face it, you heal. Cognitive dissonance is the same. It feels like pain, but it's actually medicine. The temporary discomfort of being wrong is the price of long-term wisdom. And if you want to break free from the echo chamber, you must learn to embrace this discomfort. Ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? Those 4 words are the doorway to growth. Now let's zoom out. Confirmation bias keeps you comfortable. Dunning-Kruger makes you overconfident. Cognitive dissonance keeps you stuck. Together, these traps build a mental cage. And inside that cage, your world feels safe, predictable, and controlled. But outside that cage, that's where opportunity lives. That's where growth waits. That's where the life you dream of is hiding. Most people never leave the cage. They live their whole lives in the echo chamber, mistaking agreement for truth, mistaking confidence for knowledge, mistaking comfort for happiness. But you're different. You chose this 30-day challenge. You've already proven you're hungry for growth. And growth never happens inside a cage. So how do you break free? Let me give you practical steps. First, seek disagreement on purpose. Don't just follow voices that make you feel good. Follow voices that challenge you. Read a book you wouldn't normally pick. Watch a video with the opposite perspective. Listen, not to agree, but to understand. Second, practice the devil's advocate exercise. Take one belief you hold strongly. Now argue against it. Seriously, try to prove yourself wrong. You'll be surprised how much this expands your thinking. Third, ask humble questions. Next time you feel overconfident about a subject, stop and ask, what don't I know yet? This small shift opens the door to deeper learning. Fourth, sit with discomfort. When something challenges your beliefs, resist the urge to run. Sit with the discomfort. Ask why it feels so hard to accept. That tension means you're growing. And finally, build mental flexibility. Think of your mind like a muscle. The more you stretch it, the more flexible it becomes. Flexible minds adapt, rigid minds break. Now, you might be wondering, why does this even matter? Here's the answer. Because your future depends on it. If you stay in the echo chamber, you'll live someone else's life, not your own. Your decisions won't be based on truth, but on comfort. And comfort is the slowest form of death. But if you break free, you unlock real freedom. The freedom to think for yourself. The freedom to grow beyond limits. The freedom to create a life that is truly yours. And this doesn't just change you, it changes the world around you. When one person escapes the echo chamber, they inspire others to do the same. Together, we create a society that is stronger, wiser, and more united. Not divided by walls of agreement, but connected by bridges of understanding. So my challenge for you today is simple but powerful. Step outside your echo chamber. Break the cycle of confirmation bias. Question your own confidence. Embrace the discomfort of being wrong. Because the truth is this, the echo only feels safe because it's familiar. But the real growth, the real freedom, the real life you want, it's waiting outside those walls. This is day 26. And today, you don't just motivate yourself, you liberate your mind. 2. Breaking the cycle. Practical strategies. Have you ever noticed how your phone seems to know what you believe? You scroll through Facebook or YouTube, and every post, every video, every headline somehow agrees with you. It feels good, right? Like the world understands you. But let me ask you this. What if that comfort is secretly your biggest enemy? Imagine being stuck in a room where everyone nods their head at everything you say. No one challenges you. No one questions you. At first, it feels great. You feel smart, confident, even powerful. But slowly, that room becomes a prison. You stop growing. You stop learning. You stop seeing the truth. That's the trap of the echo chamber. And hidden inside it are three dangerous forces: confirmation bias, false confidence, and the fear of uncomfortable truths. They sound complicated, but don't worry. Today, I'll break them down in the simplest way possible, and more importantly, show you how to escape. Because this isn't just psychology, it's your future. If you stay trapped, you repeat the same patterns, the same mistakes, the same small life. But if you break free, you step into growth, opportunity, and freedom. This is day 26 of our 30-day challenge. And today, we're not just motivating your heart, we're liberating your mind. Think about this. Your brain loves agreement. It's wired that way. Back in tribal times, being accepted by the group meant survival. Disagreement could get you thrown out, and being alone meant danger. So, even today, thousands of years later, your brain still feels safe when people agree with you. That's called confirmation bias. It's like a filter in your mind. You pay more attention to things that match what you already believe and ignore things that don't. That's why, when you believe something, suddenly you see it everywhere. You think about buying a red car, and suddenly you see red cars all over the road. It's not magic. It's your brain looking for agreement. But here's the problem. What feels safe doesn't always lead to truth. Social media makes this worse. Algorithms feed you more of what you like, so your world shrinks. If you lean one way, you'll only see that way. If you believe something strongly, your feed will keep proving you right, even if you're wrong. And little by little, your mind becomes a closed box. Think of it like going to the gym. If you only lift the lightest weights, the ones that feel easy, your muscles never grow. Comfort won't make you strong. Resistance will. The same is true for your mind. Agreement feels light, but disagreement builds strength. Growth starts when you choose curiosity over comfort. Now let's talk about another trap: false confidence. Psychologists call it the Dunning-Kruger effect. Don't worry about the name. Here's what it means. When people know a little, they often think they know a lot. That small amount of knowledge creates big confidence. But the more you actually learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. It's like learning to swim. You take one class, splash around a little, and suddenly you feel like you can handle the ocean. You dive in unprepared, and the waves humble you. In life, this happens all the time. Someone reads one article, and suddenly they're an expert. Someone watches one video, and now they think they understand the whole topic. And inside an echo chamber, this false confidence multiplies. When everyone around you agrees, you feel certain. But certainty without depth is dangerous. Real wisdom is not about always being right. Real wisdom is about knowing how much you still don't know. The people who grow the most aren't the ones who shout the loudest. They're the ones who keep learning, keep questioning, keep humbling themselves. So if you want to escape this trap, adopt a beginner's mindset. Approach life like a student, not a master. Ask more questions than you give answers. Remember, an empty cup can be filled, but a full cup can only spill. The third trap is the hardest: the fear of cognitive dissonance. That's just a fancy way of saying, your brain hates being wrong. When reality doesn't match your beliefs, you feel discomfort. It's that tight feeling in your chest when someone proves you wrong, or that voice in your head saying, "This doesn't feel right." Most people avoid that feeling. They unfollow the person. They scroll past the video. They deny the evidence. They say, "That can't be true," just to protect their comfort. But here's the truth. That discomfort is not your enemy. It's your teacher. Think about a doctor telling you your lifestyle is hurting your health. That truth stings. It makes you defensive. You want to argue. But if you avoid it, you get worse. If you face it, you heal. The same goes for your mind. The pain of being wrong is temporary, but the growth that comes from it is permanent. If you want to evolve, you have to embrace the discomfort of being challenged. Every time you ask yourself, "What if I'm wrong?" you step into wisdom. Now let's connect all three traps. Confirmation bias keeps you comfortable. False confidence makes you overestimate yourself. And fear of dissonance keeps you from changing. Together, they build a cage around your mind. And in that cage, you feel safe, but you're not free. Most people spend their entire lives inside this cage. They hear the same voices, believe the same ideas, and repeat the same patterns. But safety isn't the same as growth. Comfort isn't the same as truth. And silence isn't the same as wisdom. You chose this challenge because you don't want to be most people. You want to grow. And growth only happens outside the cage. So how do you break free? Let's keep it practical. First, actively seek diverse viewpoints. Don't just follow the voices that make you feel good. Subscribe to a news source that disagrees with you. Follow a thought leader with a different perspective. Read a book from the other side. Don't do it to fight. Do it to understand. Curiosity is stronger than comfort. Second, try the devil's advocate exercise. Take one belief you hold strongly and argue against it. Pretend you're debating yourself. Try to poke holes in your own thinking. It feels strange at first, but it's one of the fastest ways to open your mind. Third, practice humility. Say the words, "I might be wrong." Those 4 words open doors. They invite learning. They turn you from a stubborn talker into a wise listener. These aren't just exercises. They're habits that break the cycle of the echo chamber. The more you practice them, the more flexible your mind becomes. And flexibility is power. A rigid mind breaks. A flexible mind adapts, survives, and thrives. And here's why this matters for you. If you stay in the echo chamber, you'll live a life designed by someone else. Your decisions won't be based on truth, but on comfort. And comfort, slowly, is just another form of death. But if you break free, you'll think for yourself. You'll see opportunities others miss. You'll build relationships not based on blind agreement, but on real understanding. You'll live a life that feels truly yours. And the best part? When you escape the echo chamber, you don't just help yourself, you help others. People watch you, they notice your growth, your openness, your humility. And you give them permission to break free too. That's how change spreads. So here's my challenge for you today. Step outside your echo chamber. Seek disagreement on purpose. Question your own confidence. Sit with the discomfort of being wrong. Because the echo only feels safe because it's familiar. But the real growth, the real strength, the real life you dream of, it's waiting outside those walls. This is day 26. And today, you don't just motivate your heart, you free your mind. 3. Rebuilding your mental landscape. Have you ever had that strange feeling that the world around you is simply repeating what you already believe? You scroll through your phone, and every post agrees with you. You talk to your friends, and they nod at the same things you say. You watch the news, and somehow it always confirms the views you already hold. At first, it feels safe. It feels comfortable. It feels like proof that you're on the right path. But here's the truth. Sometimes that comfort is not proof. Sometimes it's a trap. And the scariest prisons are the ones we don't even know we're in. This is day 26 of our 30-day challenge. And today we're talking about something that could quietly decide the future of your life without you even realizing it. It's the hidden mental traps we fall into when we don't question what we consume, when we only listen to what feels good, when we close the doors on voices that don't agree with us. Psychology has names for these traps: confirmation bias, false confidence, and fear of discomfort. But beyond the labels, what they really mean is this: you start living in a bubble. And when you live in that bubble too long, your world shrinks while you don't even notice. Let's be honest, our minds love comfort. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors survived by being accepted in their tribes. Agreement meant safety. Disagreement meant danger. That ancient programming is still inside us. So when people around us say, "Yes, you're right," it feels good. Our brain rewards us with pleasure. And when someone says, "You're wrong," we feel attacked, even if they're actually helping us see the truth. That's confirmation bias, and it's one of the biggest reasons people stop growing after a certain point in life. Think about it like this. Imagine going to the gym and only lifting the lightest weights. It feels easy. You're never sore. You never sweat. But guess what? Your muscles never grow. Comfort is not strength. Resistance builds strength. The same is true for your brain. If you only feed it with agreement, it gets weak. If you challenge it with different views, it becomes powerful. But there's another trap that makes this worse: false confidence. Psychologists call it the Dunning-Kruger effect, but let me put it in plain words. When we know a little about something, we often think we know a lot. That small piece of knowledge feels like a mountain of wisdom. And when you're in a bubble where everyone thinks the same way, that small knowledge is repeated so many times that it feels like truth. You feel certain. You feel smart. But certainty without depth is dangerous. Think about learning to swim. You take one class, splash around in shallow water, and suddenly you feel ready for the ocean. You dive in, but the waves quickly remind you that you're not ready. That's what false confidence does. It tricks you into thinking you're prepared when you're not. Real wisdom doesn't come from being loud or certain. Real wisdom comes from realizing how much you still don't know. That humility is what separates those who keep growing from those who stay stuck. And then comes the hardest trap of all: the fear of cognitive dissonance. That's just a fancy way of saying our brain hates it when our beliefs don't match reality. It feels uncomfortable when we're proven wrong. So what do? We avoid it. We unfollow the person who disagrees with us. We scroll past the video that challenges us. We defend our position even when the facts don't support it. We choose the comfort of illusion over the discomfort of truth. But here's the hidden danger. What feels uncomfortable today may be exactly what saves you tomorrow. Imagine a doctor telling you, your lifestyle is destroying your health. That's painful to hear. You want to deny it. But if you ignore it, your health gets worse. If you face it, you have the chance to heal. The same is true with ideas. The sting of being wrong is temporary, but the growth from it is permanent. Every time you let yourself sit with discomfort instead of running from it, you evolve. You get stronger. You open doors that most people never open. So what do we do with all this? How do we break free from the traps and start rebuilding our mental landscape? The first step is developing a powerful internal filter. This is about learning to practice critical thinking and source vetting. In simple words, don't just accept information at face value. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Who is saying it? Why are they saying it? Do they benefit if I believe this? In today's world, information is everywhere. But wisdom only comes when you know how to filter it. When you build this internal filter, you don't get fooled by fake headlines, manipulative posts, or echo chamber voices. You become someone who sees deeper than the surface. The second step is engaging in respectful discourse. That means learning to talk about sensitive topics without turning every conversation into a war. Too many people today live in tribalism. My team versus your team. My side versus your side. But the truth is, real progress happens when we listen. Not just wait to speak, but actually listen. You don't have to agree with someone to learn from them. And you don't have to attack someone to hold your own belief. Respectful conversation opens doors that anger keeps locked. And the third step is perhaps the most powerful: cultivating mental flexibility. This is the freedom that comes when you admit you might be wrong, and that's okay. A flexible mind can bend, can adapt, can change direction without breaking. A rigid mind, on the other hand, always snaps. In the modern world, flexibility is strength. It's not about holding on to the same belief forever. It's about being strong enough to grow when the truth asks you to. Imagine your mind as a landscape. Right now, some of you are standing in a garden that hasn't been watered in years. The soil is dry, the plants don't grow, and the walls are closing in. That's the echo chamber. But if you start watering it with curiosity, planting seeds of humility, and clearing away the weeds of false confidence, suddenly it comes alive again. You build a mental landscape that is open, alive, and free. And here's why this matters so much. If you don't rebuild your mental landscape, you end up living a life designed by someone else. You think you're making your own decisions, but really, you're just following the patterns of your bubble. And bubbles always burst. But if you rebuild, if you filter, if you question, if you stay open, you create a life that is truly yours. You create freedom. And that freedom doesn't just change you, it changes everyone around you. When people see someone thinking for themselves, staying humble, engaging with respect, and adapting with flexibility, they notice. They get inspired. They want to grow too. That's how change spreads. Not through arguments, but through example. So my challenge for you today is this: rebuild your mental landscape. Don't stay trapped in the echo chamber. Don't let false confidence blind you. Don't run from the discomfort of being wrong. Instead, filter what you consume. Ask better questions. Talk with respect. Stay flexible. Because the echo only feels safe because it's familiar. But your dream life, your growth, your real strength, it's waiting outside those walls. This is day 26. And today, you don't just motivate your heart. You free your mind for the future of informed thought. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to live in a world where everything you hear simply agrees with you? The voices on your feed sound like your own. The conversations you have with friends repeat what you already believe. The news you watch seems to confirm your perspective again and again. At first, it feels good. It feels safe. It feels like proof that you're right. But the truth is, sometimes that safety is nothing more than a bubble. And bubbles always burst. This is day 26 of our 30-day challenge. And today I want to take you deeper than just breaking out of your personal echo chamber. Because escaping it isn't only about you. It's about something far bigger. How your growth ripples outward to shape society, how it impacts your relationships, and how your choices can either build walls that divide or bridges that unite. If you've ever wondered, why should I even care about this? This is why. Because the way you think doesn't just affect your life. It affects all of us. Let's begin with this simple truth. When one person frees their mind, everyone benefits. Imagine a society where most people only listen to what they already believe. It becomes a world of teams, sides, and tribes. People stop talking to each other. They argue, but they don't listen. They fight, but they don't learn. That's what happens when echo chambers take over. A divided society where nobody moves forward. But when someone steps out, when someone chooses to open their mind, it creates a spark. That person begins to ask questions instead of repeating slogans. They search for truth instead of comfort. They learn to see people as human beings instead of enemies. And that spark inspires others. Think about history. The biggest changes didn't happen because everyone agreed. They happened because someone was willing to step out of the bubble, question the norm, and start building bridges. Whether it was fighting for justice, standing up for truth, or creating innovations that changed how we live, it all started with people who dared to think beyond the echo. And here's the psychological truth. Humans mirror each other. When someone in a group shows open-mindedness, others unconsciously start doing the same. That's how your personal liberation becomes a collective benefit. Your courage to think differently can start a chain reaction that makes society wiser, stronger, and more united. But this isn't just about the world out there. It's also about the world right around you. Your personal life, your relationships, your family, your workplace. Because the same traps that shape society also shape how we connect with people every single day. If you're stuck in an echo chamber, it affects more than your opinions on politics or culture. It affects your ability to love, to listen, to grow with the people closest to you. Think about relationships. How many arguments happen not because of the actual problem, but because both people are trapped in their own bubble of beliefs, unwilling to hear the other side. One person says, "I'm right." The other says, "No, I'm right." And instead of trying to understand, they try to win. That's not communication. That's war disguised as conversation. But if even one person in that moment decides to step outside their echo, everything changes. Instead of saying, "I'm right," they say, "Help me understand why you feel this way." Instead of defending, they start listening. And suddenly, a fight becomes a bridge. The same thing happens at work. Maybe you've seen it. Teams that fail because no one questions the leader, or companies that get stuck because they only listen to their own ideas. That's an echo chamber in action. But workplaces grow when people dare to challenge respectfully, when they bring in fresh perspectives, when they admit they don't have all the answers. That's how innovation is born. Not from repeating the same thoughts, but from mixing different ones. And even in families, echo chambers can quietly destroy connection. Parents who never listen to their children, children who never try to understand their parents, siblings who stop talking because they're stuck in their own separate bubbles. But the moment someone decides to break the cycle, to ask instead of assume, to understand instead of judge, the entire relationship shifts. You realize that freedom of thought isn't just about building a stronger society. It's about building stronger bonds with the people you love most. So here's the big question. How do we actually live this out? How do we make sure our personal growth doesn't just stay inside our head but flows into the way we interact with the world? The answer is simple but powerful. We must choose to build bridges, not walls. Every day, with every interaction, you have a choice. When you meet someone who disagrees with you, you can either shut them out or lean in. You can either label them as other or see them as human. You can either put up a wall or take a step toward a bridge. And I'll be honest, building bridges isn't always comfortable. It means hearing things you don't want to hear. It means sitting with ideas that challenge you. It means resisting the temptation to fight back or shut down. But here's what psychology shows us. Discomfort is not danger. Your brain reacts to disagreement like it reacts to physical pain, but it's not the same. That sting you feel when someone proves you wrong, that's not a threat. That's growth knocking on your door. And if you let it in, you don't just grow, you help others grow too. Because here's what's really at stake. If we all keep building walls, we end up living in small, divided worlds where fear controls us. But if we build bridges, we create communities where learning never stops, where respect is possible even without agreement, where progress becomes possible again. The future of our society, our families, our friendships, it depends on this choice. Will we keep repeating the echo, or will we create something new? And here's the part I want you to remember. It only takes one person to start. One person willing to ask, what if I'm wrong? One person willing to say, tell me more. One person willing to see the human being before the opinion. That person can be you. And when you take that step, you don't just change yourself. You set an example for everyone around you. So as we close today's challenge, here's my call to action. Don't let your mind be trapped in walls of agreement. Break out. Be the person who builds bridges in conversations, at work, in your family, in your community. Be the one who listens with humility, speaks with respect, and grows with courage. The world has enough walls. What it needs is people willing to create bridges. This isn't about losing your identity or giving up your beliefs. It's about strengthening them by testing them, sharpening them, and expanding them. It's about living with the freedom to change your mind without losing yourself. It's about showing others that true strength isn't about shouting the loudest. It's about listening the deepest. So let me leave you with this. The echo chamber will always feel familiar, and walls will always feel safe. But safety is not freedom. Freedom is found in the bridges we build. The ones that connect us to new ideas, new people, and new possibilities. Today, choose to build one. For yourself. For your relationships. For all of us. This is day 26, and today is the day you don't just free your own mind. You start freeing the world around you.